If you guys are jumping in on the live stream, there's a Zoom link in your Facebook, in your email, so you can jump in and check that out. Um, and we'd love to have you live. And let me go ahead and get my notes up here. We're going to be talking today a little different than last week. We were talking last week about how to launch your very first online community. And today I want to just sprinkle in a little AI fun to that because we use AI a ton and on our team to build out, do various marketing things, to figure out, copy, to figure out what to do for social media. So what I'm gonna do is as we walk through kind of the framework we have about find your people, how to share your breakthrough, and then how to invite people to your community. I'm just gonna show you some tools that we have. And the cool thing is I have some free tools for you guys available as well today. So you can definitely jump into that, and we'll have a ton of good stuff for you guys. So I'll say as well, this is our tribe creators. It's going to be our free group that you guys all join. We're streaming this. Anyone can access it. But if you can go to tribesocial.io/creator, you can then register and you can get an account on our tribe. But we have a actual group hosted on Tribe for creators, and we have resources. This free AI tool that we're going to be sharing is in there. It's going to be in that part of that group. And so you'll be able to access that. We have free training resources. And if you would just go ahead and go live, introduce yourself, tell us where you're coming from. There's some intro things to do when you join. So welcome to Tribe Creators. You're officially inside Tribe Creators. And we'll go from there. Let me make sure I can see the chat. Very good. Thanks. Yeah, there's the link for that. Um, so um, again, who this is for, if you're a business owner and you want to try to figure out some more consistent revenue. If you're a coach, you're already coaching people, but you're trying to figure out how to go from like one-to-one coaching to I want to scale to many, to one-to-many model. This is definitely for you. And if you're an author speaker where you already have content, you already have something you're sharing, it's already moving, but you're just trying to figure out a way to increase the impact and essentially launch a community, this is going to be for you. And I always like to say what this is not. This is not Bruce just doing a monologue for it's going to be you sharing, like, interactive, ask questions. I can see your chat. We're going to do discussion as well. At the probably about 30-40 minutes in, we'll take a break, do some Q&A, and I'm happy to open anything I can help on, like where you're at in your community launch. If you're just starting, if you already have something, we're currently helping people from who are don't just have an idea for a group, and we have groups that have tens of thousands of people in it that we're all helping with. So I hope we can share some wisdom on that. Um, and then this is definitely not only for Gen Z and millennials, because some of the fastest growing content on TikTok, for example, is that 50 to 70 plus. So don't count yourself out if you're not a Gen Z or millennial. And this is not going to be super techy and geeky. One thing I love technology. I love like diving into the tech, but I'm going to try to keep it super simple. And I want to make sure it's accessible. That's the most important thing. So we've done a couple things I'll show you today when we get into looking at the uh, AI stuff in particular. It's going to be really, really easy. Like if you can text someone on your phone, you're going to be able to use the AI. Okay, so just don't worry about that. Um, if we're just meeting, we've been serving founders for about 14 years, my wife and I. We've invested well over 150K in coaching and courses to try to figure out and get to where we are today. And we've launched multiple six-figure tribes. And now we are serving kind of six, seven, and even some eight-figure tribes that are online the last couple of years through our new software. So we just moved last year to Nashville. I know Tanya's here, so yay for Franklin and Nashville. Um, so that's us. I'm gonna try to share everything as much as I can. I don't want to just show the before and the after. So there's a messy middle of just figuring stuff out. And so depending on where you are in the journey, a lot of times we go on social media and we see people like, oh, this is where they were and this is where they are now. And that's just amazing. And most of the time people are just sharing like the after, right? And so we want to dive into what was the process? Like, how did we get into that? And how did we actually get from point A to point B? And then what is the straightest path through that? So I'm gonna hopefully try to show you some of the shortcuts. This is a great picture of pretty much exactly how it went for us. Like we were up, down, sideways, going in circles, like a bunch of wasted time in there. And so we want to try to make that super efficient and give you guys some shortcuts today. Sounds good. So if you guys are ready, just drop an emoji in the chat. That'd be great so I can see who's listening. Again, if you're watching online, guys, tune in. There's a Zoom link in your inbox. You can hit the register for the group, and you'll get the link as well. So that's great. Um, so cool. So before on the AI stuff, I just want to share this, like kind of some why for AI at all. Um, Maybe for a chat, like, could you just drop in as well? Like, are you using AI already, or is this new to you? Maybe just say like new, or like that'd be great if you're new to AI. I haven't done anything with it. I'll try to keep it very high level and intro. Cool. Lisa's using it. Tanya's using it. You played around with it. Yeah, a lot of people have dabbled with it. Like they see something online and you just like test it out. Um, it's getting better and easier to use. So now it's like it's less about like maybe just how to use it, but now it's kind of figuring out like how do I actually get it to do something useful. You can ask it simple questions and it can just spit back an answer, but how do you use it to be like a creative partner? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Uh, so one thing AI is, yeah, definitely is a procrastination killer. I know none of you guys, and I don't do this at all, but we never procrastinate on anything as an entrepreneur. Just the second we have the idea, we immediately take action, and it's so easy, right? So um, AI is great because, and I'm using this even in our business on a ton of different tasks, but things that I will procrastinate on. My first antidote for procrastination is to start talking to AI and help me like get the motivation, get me the first 70, 80% of this task done, and I'll finish it really quick and then it's out the door. So it's a great anecdote for procrastination. It also helps you focus on what only you can do, which is really the strategy, the focus. There's some specific things that you're specifically gifted to do that and there's a lot of repetitive tasks. It kind of frees you up to get out of that. And like I said, entrepreneur's lonely. So I love having my AI buddy. He's like my creative partner when it's late nights or early mornings or I'm on a drive even. I do a lot of verbal conversations with AI like while I'm driving. It's pretty fun. So we're gonna jump into all that today. Okay, awesome. So we'll talk a little bit about go through like the tribe framework here, and then as we do that, I'm going to show you examples, and we'll dive uh, into some specifics here of how to use it. And I'm going to continue to kind of flip between this, and I'm going to jump into our group as well, so you'll be able to try this out kind of live with us, or go after recording and check this out. So Tribe is just a community. It's an online community with a shared vision and purpose built for connection and transformation. I believe that the most impactful moves in our life and things we've invested in has come through being part of some type of tribe or online community. Before 2019, I didn't even know coaching was an industry. We had never bought a course. We had never bought anything in 2019. We've been running our business for almost 10 years and had done none of those things. We just kind of figured things out. I'd ask some people from help here and there, and I had been missing out. So I figured out that by being part of a community, like-minded people, it stretches you, it inspires you, and it actually helps you see meaningful transformation into something that you're actually wanting to do, that you feel called to do. So uh, we're very inspired by this. We kind of went through that transformation, and my wife Lindsay and we launched our own tribes, helping Kingdom Messengers, helping people launch their faith-based podcast. I know some of you guys were involved in that as well. And then we started building software. Like we were a software development company, so we kind of saw where this was all going, and we're like, we need to give a way for creators to have territory where they can stake their, kind of claim their territory online. And so we built Tribe Social, our software. So we're very passionate about tribes, about online communities, and we do feel like it's one of the fastest ways for people to take to kind of level up in whatever they're feeling called to do, is getting from point A to point B in some way. So the first thing we also talk about, obviously, you got to find your people as far as um, who actually is going to be you're going to try to serve. That is one of the most powerful things. Like just finding your people um, and niching down and just making that decision of like, hey, I want to help like moms who live here, who have kids under 3, who are trying to work or trying, whatever. And that it's the smaller and tighter the niche you can get. It makes it super easy to talk to people. So if you have like one friend that you like to talk to, or share business things, like to talk to that one person is so easy. Like you can talk about your business, you can talk about your life, you can talk about, things that are happening at your breakthrough. It's very easy to talk to one person. It's super hard to get up on stage in a public setting and just start like speaking to everyone because there's so many different types of people. And by niching down, you get that the sort of the impact of just talking to a single person, and every single person, once you start to get people, as many people like that one person, it can just builds like a ton of momentum because they feel like you're talking directly to them, and you're not having to like, well, you could be for this, it could be for that. Like it's some of the hardest copy and marketing that you have to do is to maybe work on your website, because it's like everybody could see it, like your mom could see it, your siblings, like your friends, like all these, they could see clients, but you're trying to like speak very generically, and and it doesn't really make a whole lot. It makes it much more difficult to speak to the whole world instead of just speaking to a specific person. So this idea of niching down is extremely powerful. Um, you may be in this mode right now where we're trying to figure out like who's the right people. Maybe social media feels crowded, and so like you feel like if I just talk to this one person, there's not enough people. I can safely say that the world is a much bigger place than you could ever imagine. Um, we kind of expect like, oh well, I only see this on my social feed, and so I'm not going to start adding my voice to the mix because there's 20, 30 other people that I follow that are all doing like incredible jobs. And this person has 30,000 followers and 100,000 followers. Like, why would I, with my 500 followers, go in and try to like compete with this? So when you're putting it in those terms, it makes it kind of gives us an excuse to sort of push back and say like, hey, the world's like, I'm not going to add because if I do it, then like nothing could happen. What's like the worst thing is like nothing's going to happen. I'm going to waste a ton of time and effort. And so by implementing the right strategy and to kind of walk through these things, that is a way to kind of ensure success so that you don't end up spinning your wheels in that messy middle and not seeing the results. So if you can find a way to just serve a very specific niche people, and it's 10, it's 15, it's 20 people initially, it's a small group, that is incredibly powerful because now you've kind of built some tremendous momentum. You don't need hundreds of people in a community. You could have 10 people in a community and it could be an incredible impact, could add a couple $1,000s to your monthly revenue. And it doesn't need a lot of people essentially to have that. So um, essentially, like if you can niche down, you can make it super valuable for those people, then that's all you really need. It's not like you have to uh, I don't know, do let's see, I had a really good idea to analogy, and I don't think it's going to work. So uh, but you guys get the idea, is like we're trying to get super specific. Like don't look at like people's social media followings and stuff and then think like I'm not that, because a lot of these social media influencers have zero community or paid option to get closer. They just like to broadcast stuff, and that's kind of all you see. So um, having something where you're actually going to walk with people, get in a community, have real conversations, get on Zoom calls like we're doing today, that's incredibly powerful. So one of our mentors is Pedro Adeo. He says you want to carve a niche so small that only you fit in. So a lot of times, like when you're thinking of who to go serve, it could be you from like 5 years ago. It could be you, from a previous season of life. So when you have that, like just think about like what is the unique things that make you up. Like you were created for a specific purpose. You're here on the earth for such a time as this to impact the world. There's unique skills, abilities, things that you can give, and insights and breakthroughs that you have that is specific to you. And so don't try to say like, well, I went on a health journey and I lost 20 pounds and I'm going to help people who want to lose 20 pounds. Like, do you know who wants to lose 20 pounds? Everybody in the world. It's pretty much true. So but if you're like, hey, I'm a business owner, I live here in Nashville, like I lost weight and I'm going to build a community of people who value being fit, who are dads, that because I'm a dad and I have young kids, not just dads, but dads with young kids. And we live in a certain area, and I'm going to put this little tight knit community together that really is like all the things that make Bruce. If I want to go one step further, I could be like, who are also pilots or getting their pilot license. to throw that in the mix. But imagine, obviously, if you put of those people or just three of those people together in a room, the synergy that would happen because we're like, oh, you have that thing, you have this thing. Like, yeah, we're struggling with this. The amount of topics we can talk about are endless because we have a very unique perspective that you specifically have. That actually becomes you now become like the expert in this niche because you super unique and you have this expert opinion. So whether you're incorporating like your faith into this or incorporating geographic location, like you can incorporate these different things and it's going to make it super valuable because now like you're the only one who's in Nashville talking about fitness, who's going to uh, I don't know, who's a dad, who's have all these unique set of problems. So you can speak very specifically and be incredibly valuable. One of my friends and neighbors now is Bo Garrett. He launched this watch he had this idea for a watch, and we suggested that he goes out and finds his people. So he decided to niche down to people who just had their specific pilot's license or had a student pilot's license. You had to have a um, actual certificate and an ID. Like if you have a driver's license number, you basically have the same for your pilot, like when you become a pilot. And so he put a video together. He shot it on his phone. Just you can see it there. It's just walking around the airport after a flight. And he's like, "Hey, I have this idea. I'd love to ask a favor. If you can give me your feedback, I'm wanting to design a watch." So now he's like, I'm talking to pilots who are in the US and only people who are super like passionate about like the watch that they wear. So that's not all pilots. It's a very specific demographic and people who are in this kind of criteria that he's defined. So he ended up getting over 1,800 people filled out his little survey, and some of these people, when they saw that, they're like, "Oh, you're a pilot and watch." Like they wrote multiple pages long answers and opinions on this for free. Like he didn't ask them; it wasn't paid anything like that. You just put it out there, and people would spend all this time like, okay, now what you really need in a watch is like this, and this, and they just would ramble on for pages about all the things that they wanted. It was really shocking to kind of tap into this really tight niche. But I think if we had just talked about people who like watches, if you just talked to people who only like who enjoy aviation, like aviation enthusiasts, that's now gone from like I think there's 500,000 pilots in the US. Like there's that now you're talking to, tens of millions of people. It just makes it way too broad. So anyway, that's a great way. So the exercise we're going to do, we did this last week. If you're on the call, we're going to do it again, but now we're going to use the AI. So I'm going to walk you guys through this little exercise. We're going to try to think of like 5 people that you currently would love to serve. So these could be like past clients, it could be friends, family. You're like, if I could just have a friend like Bo, or I could have a friend like John, and then kind of think about John, like, oh, John is a dad. John is lives here. He does this, and kind of start to think about that specific person. So if you could take that one person, you could take your John, a Bo or someone like that, and say, I want to find 100 people like that, right? I'm gonna get 100 people like that into a group. How would you go about doing that? So you can make a short list. I'm going to show you the cool way here to do this, and I'm going to jump over into let's see if this works here. Okay, awesome. So if you guys have jumped into our community, it's apps.tribesocial.io. You all have an account here. We have about 400 members. We've been building this up over the last we've actually only taken, I think, 7 days, 10 days to get 400 people joined into the group. So just running some Facebook ads and a few things. Just wanted to show you that this group didn't exist 2 weeks ago, and here we are. So you can definitely scale things in a. So we've got this kind of free group that anyone's available can come into. And we've got some replays if you want to watch the first talk from last week. Um, it's in there. This talk here, the replay will be available in this replays tab. You can also connect with other members in here. You can click on someone and you can start a chat if you want with particular people. So it's a lot of cool value here. Also just go live, of course. So just want to mention that. So we've added a new tab called the Tribe AI. So you can come over here and start a process here where you can just click this one of these buttons, or you could just ask it a question like, help me figure out who I should have in my new online community. So it'll go through and it's going to ask you questions. I won't go through these like specifically, but if you went through this process, it's going to ask you things like kind of what I just went through now. What skills, knowledge, experience do you have that you're passionate about sharing? And then um, it has all of my notes from the slide. So this is a kind of a unique AI. You can go to ChatGPT and do this. You can go to Cloud and other tools. What's cool about this one is it has all of my notes. So I threw in all my notes from last week. I've done the transcript of last week's recording. So it kind of knows our framework now. So it's a lot more, it's gonna be a lot more useful as you give it information. The cool thing about this as well is like if you go and ask it a bunch of questions today and you come back next week, that whole history of you just chatting with that person, with that in that session is gonna be at the top. So you kind of keep like one long conversation going with this. So this is one of the easiest ways. I want to make it super accessible here. And this is free. So you should totally use it because OpenAI is $20 a month. So now you can use this for free. Uh, so you can borrow our account. Um, and then there's different things. We're going to talk through each of these different steps. You can see there's three options here. And you can just ask it questions, clarify. It'll kind of help you niche down who that person is when you're there. So it is powered by ChatGPT, so it's got all the same power and experience that ChatGPT would have. It's just built into this idea of like being a creator and trying to build your tribe online. So it's kind of themed that way. So we'll through that. I'll show you some examples as well. We'll test that out as we go. So that's the exercise one. The next thing is we're going to jump into share your breakthrough. So what we're going to do is once you've kind of had some sort of breakthrough, we're going to figure out like what do you actually want to share. And again, this we kind of touched on this, but like what are the things that are unique to you in the last 5 years? Like what are some things that you've made progress in the last 5 years that you want to now help other people do? And it needs to be something, of course, that there is real breakthrough. Like if you are a pioneer, you're an entrepreneur, you're already thinking this way. You are already trying to think of how can I break through into something new? I'm here, my business is here, or my this is where my lifestyle is. I want to break through and get to this next level. You're already sort of processing that already and you're thinking in those terms. So if you can take that and kind of scale that to where you look at the breakthrough that you've had and things that you actually have sort of victory you have established, like, yes, I can do this. And don't overthink this. You don't have to be having done this for 10 years and now I'm qualified to speak. Like if you're just a couple weeks ahead of your members, that's actually okay because you're kind of figuring it out as you go. But I think a lot of times people think like, well, I don't have I don't have a degree in business, so I can't teach entrepreneurship. Guess what? I don't have a degree at all, and I'm here doing this. And you guys all signed up to listen to this crazy guy talk about business. And so that we just have to figure that out. Like sometimes we make all these different excuses of why, like, oh, well, we haven't had like this level. I haven't, in a business, you haven't hit like $1 million year, so I can't help people get to $1 million, or I can't help people, but get to that beyond because I don't feel qualified for that. So don't disqualify yourself in that. Just kind of help. Like, there's a lot of people who would love to make 200,000 this year, or 300, or 400, and if you've made 800, then that's like enough to like help that person out. Does that make sense? I'm trying to give a couple examples, but uh, don't kind of overestimate because we as entrepreneurs are super driven. Like you guys are here, you're investing in your business, you're working on strategy, thinking about your business, you're working on your business, not in your business today. So I know you guys are driven and you're wanting to take action on this. So uh, just don't disqualify yourself from like what that breakthrough could be. Like it could be something that you're just a little bit ahead. We have these crazy milestones as entrepreneurs, and we're like, if we haven't hit this milestone, like I can't talk about this to anyone until I hit this crazy milestone. Like pick something, help people get just a little bit further than they are now, and get them somewhere along the journey, right? So cool. Um, so there's that. We did this with a group called Kingdom Messengers. Our case study for this, we got my wife Lindsay had launched her podcast in 2020. We had done a bunch of social media things and video. We had a history in doing video production and a few things. So once she launched, we knew like it would be smart if we used video. She made a daily podcast, so every single day she made a 5-minute video that had to be edited and uploaded and all of that. So she did that for months. I think it was like 4 or 5 months straight. And she went from she started a brand new Instagram account, she started a brand new Facebook page, and brand new TikTok account. And I think within 90 days, we had about 10, 15,000 followers across all the channels. And then within a year, it was 100,000. And then it blew up to like 200,000 kind of within 2 years of just doing the same thing. So she had this breakthrough of launching a podcast. And so being the minded person, was like, great, let's make a subscription, let's sell merch. Like, so that didn't go down very well. Lindsay was like, this is, for ministry. She wants to give all this away. There's no money attached to this at all. So, okay, cool. So then we came back. I'm very persistent. I came back a couple different times. I was like, well, what if we taught people like how to do a podcast? Because we've done it and people would love to have that success. We've had some breakthrough. You can see the numbers, like there's something to show for it. And we just started, we put about $300 of ads. This was in January of 2021. And we had 250 people pay about $27 to be on our first event. And then during those 5 days, that challenge, we then in, invited people in to work with us for 90 days. And we charged 2,500 for that. And we had about 19 people join us in this thing. So we made it was roughly about $70,000 in 2 weeks doing this, which was more than what Lindsay had made in her full-time job that she spent a year going to for the year before. We did that in 2 weeks, and it totally changed our life. And now we realized, like, oh, this is what, like, having a community could look like. This is what having a tribe would look like. And so, other than obviously the revenue is important, and it's not all about the money, but it does need to be there because it has to make it sustainable. And also, it shows that people are really valuing the commitment. Like, they're going 90 days with you, and they're going to invest, and they're like choosing to take action. Um, so you can help people, for free on social media. I know we taught this in Kingdom Messengers. We taught how to basically just give away a lot of stuff for free. And But you can do that. It's just that once you start, uh, yeah, you essentially want to, like, people can only make the progress that they want to make if you keep giving them free stuff and they don't take action. So paying for a certain subscription, paying for a boot camp of some kind helps them take action and they prioritize it. Anyone in the world could just go for a run and get really fit, and no one does that. But if you, like, hire a personal trainer, you pay for a gym membership, you drive all the way over there, like, you're invested. So you're like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to make this thing happen. So that was just for free. That was just a rabbit trail to do that. Um, Same thing on this exercise. You can kind of think of like 5 areas of like personal breakthrough experienced in your life. It could be overcoming something. It can also be getting something new. So it could be kind of stepping away from something. I know some people have done groups where, like, hey, they had this addiction or this thing or this was going wrong. They've now moved away from this thing, or you could move towards something as well. Maybe you did a career change. You were working in this job and now you switched roles and you did this other thing. Uh, or maybe you learned a new skill or a hobby. It doesn't have to be super serious as well. My One of our team members, Chris, is obsessed with like backpacks and like everyday carry EDC. It's a whole very tiny little niche. And if you want to spend 3 hours talking about backpacks, he can hang out and talk your ear off with that stuff. And he's very persuasive, so I have bought a lot of his recommendations. But this is just a super. It's just a super interesting hobby and skill. So I'm helping him now. Like, how do we make that into a community and turn that into a tribe of some kind? Because there's a bunch of people who are just crazy, like, passionate about these very weird things. So, like, don't disqualify like this one weird thing that either you've had or something that you've had. Like, see if it fits to, like, throw it into the mix, and kind of help make that even more unique. So same thing happens here. If you do want to try it out on the site, you can come in here and say, like, what breakthrough should I share? And it will spit out kind of the same questions here. You're kind of seeing like the theme. We've worked a lot of the language into this, so it's going to help you answer this. So if you were to go through and answer it, and for this demo, I'm going to show you one of my favorite tools here is, and I'll just show it to you here. Maybe we can drop the link for people. This is a fruit. So we're talking about AI. So I got to throw this in. AI. This is a little tool that sits on your Mac. Sorry, if you have a PC, I don't know if it works. I don't know. We always get that question. I think it's just for the Mac. So sorry. Uh, the solution is to go buy a Mac if you have a PC. Um, so what you can do is I can just click into this box and I could sit here and like type it out, but we don't want to do that. So I'm just going to hit this key on my keyboard and and you just have to have a chat with what I want to say about this. So some of the challenges I've overcome is starting a business, going from having zero revenue to making, multiple six figures in a business. Some of the skills and strategies that I've mastered is just how to have like productivity, how to leverage technology, how to use marketing, social media, Facebook ads, and then the transformation. Let's see here is, yeah, we were able to grow new products, get new people into communities, and we've seen success there. So I can hit this button. It's now going to take that little voice. It's going to do a bunch of things to it. Does like a little proof. It doesn't just dictate it. It's not Siri, which everybody knows is pretty terrible. You can hear I like mumbled through some things and changed some stuff, and it's going to clean it up and look how like beautifully written that garbage of like things that I just threw to it. It's like one of the major challenges I've overcome was building my business from the ground up, starting at zero revenue. And it's like basically reworded it into something super nice. I can just hit enter, send all that to ChatGPT, and now we're going to come back with the next steps and stuff like that. So just that was just for free. The whole thing's Talktastic, super helpful tool. You can click on any app in any program anywhere and just hit that button, chat, and it goes right in. Highly recommend that. Uh, so you can see that you can go through this, and they're going to have the phrasing and things like that. So you can then take it a step further and be like, how would I write a Facebook post to invite people to join a group like this? I'm kind of getting into the next step, which is the invite part. But just to have a travel conversation, here's a fairly decent post. Hey, we have this thriving community of entrepreneurs. This is what we're doing in this group. You can get these things. Click this link to join. It's got the hashtags built in. So I'm not saying like take this and blindly paste it and then, hopefully everything will work out. Like take it and edit it, right? It's going to get you 70, 80% there. Um, um, Write me 3 tweets. Uh, so now it kind of knows your niche, and I just spitting out like 3 quick things. It knows that I'm talking about business, knows that I'm talking about entrepreneurship. It knows that I'm helping people go from zero revenue to six-figure revenue. Remember, we talked about that earlier. It's just bringing this into the conversation. So you use this as you can just jump in here like, oh, what do I need to do? I need to send social media content. Let's just spit out a few things. They're not all going to be beautiful and be like all go viral, but you can take them and use them as a starting point to then adjust it and then post it. So this is some of that repetitive stuff is like if you had this crazy hardworking intern for you that was like, hey, I'm thinking of social media, write me 20 posts and I will pick one. Like, if you had that, that would be great because now like all that grunt work of like coming up with them, you can get in a few seconds here and then just pick the one you want to go for. So very cool tool. Sorry, I wasn't really looking at the chat. Let me see. You can interrupt me. Let me see if I miss anything people ask. But sweet. So that's little exercise number 2, figuring that out. Invite people to your tribe. Same thing. We want to have something where people can kind of what we call as a taste and see. So before they commit, before they jump in, before they buy, have something that you can do. And this is where I would really start. So figuring out, find your people, figure out what you're going to share, and then you got to invite them into something. So the easiest thing to do is a free event like this. You can do a Zoom call. You can do a live stream, something like that. You can do online challenges, they're more complicated, but a simple live workshop like what we're doing now is very easy. You just, there's some steps to take to do that, but the idea is just to get people to spend some time with you, to kind of see what you're all about, and also get some interaction between you and them, but then them and also the community. So that's great. You can also set up like it could be a free coaching session. I don't really recommend doing that, or some sort of discovery call where you can kind of chat with them. But having content like this where you can share to multiple people, um, we have 13 people on this call, but we'll probably have like 50 to 60 people watch it tonight and tomorrow on the replay. So having that is great because I'm now like they're kind of getting a taste and see of like what is Bruce about, like what are we trying to do, and it's very they're not having to commit to anything yet. It's just something to kind of get to know you. So then from there, of course, there's things to sell and all that stuff after that, but that's a good place to start. My friend Andrew had this brand new brand called No Code UI, and it was a super tight niche. And so he had developers who own their own agency. So that's kind of different. Not all most developers have a job, so it's kind of a rare for that they own an agency. And they specialize in mobile apps, which is a whole nother sub genre of developer. And then in mobile apps, they use a specific coding language called Flutter. And then the last thing is they actually use a tool called Flutter Flow to write that coding language to build mobile apps for their agency. So very, very tight niche. Um, and we were able to run some ads, and we had about 788 signups for this event, 250 live viewers. So we did this free event. It was just on YouTube. We did it on Facebook. Anyone could watch it. About 780, about 250 people. So you can see like you need a lot of signups to get, maybe a third of those people may show up live. And then at the end of it, we just invited people to join a boot camp, and we helped sell like six of those at 3K. So it was 18,000 minus some money in ads. So still a pretty good use of a week. I'm just want to say it doesn't have to be like hundreds of thousands of dollars to be like a pretty successful event. You can kind of have like a pretty bad workshop and one or two sales, and it still is like it's great. And you've got all this exposure. You've got all these new email addresses. It's just a way to like pour gasoline on the fire like of your marketing. Every time we run that, like your followers will go up, your email list goes up, like everything just because you're out and promotion mode. Um, all those things will help. So a lot of times like we get distracted on social media, like you should be posting 3 times a day, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, like I should be sending a newsletter, and like there's a million things you actually could be doing for marketing. But what this helps to do is just focus that super tight and intense for an event. And so you can worry about sending emails, you can worry about doing email ads or promotion or social media posts, but it's all kind of focused towards one specific thing. And that will just help you like do a very intense marketing, get those people, and then you can worry about fulfillment after that. You don't have to like keep that up now every single week. So awesome. Let me just check the chat here. When are you charging? Yes. So uh, and was asking, and it was could we have charged less? Probably. Like if we had made this $1,000, I think a lot more people have tuned in. We found out in the process that for Flutter Flow, there's a massive following in Brazil and South America. Just for some reason, that's like it's just very popular in that space. So maybe if we had pitched it a little bit cheaper, because we have exchange rates and all kinds of differences, it may have been more accessible. And again, this is the first one. I didn't show you like, oh, we did our 10th event and these are the results. Like we just right out the gate did our first one, and this is kind of how it happens. This is just getting people just inviting them for the first time. So definitely I would redo this and we'd change a lot of how we structure the offer um, to kind of tweak that and make that much, much more effective. Cool. I don't even see your live screen. Oh, um, sweet. Okay, cool. So same thing. We could talk about and strategize with the AI on all of that and ask it questions. And again, this is where I'm saying if you're stuck and you're like, Bruce, I don't know what to do. Like I have 10 ideas because we're entrepreneurs. So you had 10 ideas just this morning on things I could do. So like write them all out and tell the AI like, hey, I'm thinking of this. I have this idea for this. I have this idea for that. I have this idea for this other thing. Like don't try to structure it in a nicely formatted thing. It can deal with some chaos. Just throw some stuff at it, like explain what you're trying to do, like, and you can give them an assignment, like help me choose one of these strategies to start. Like where should I start? And it'll pick one, and you could just go do that one. And which one is it going to pick? I don't know, but the best part is they're going to pick one, and you're going to keep moving. Because a lot of people are like, well, I haven't decided yet. Like I have this one idea for a group and I have this other idea for a group. We helped, like we have the tribe group, we have this other Kingdom Messenger thing we did for a while. We had this no code UI that I helped coach on as well, and they're totally different. They're not, none of those are related to the other at all. They're very, very different, and we're trying it, right? So like but we took action and we picked a thing and we did it. We did a workshop, or we did a boot camp, or we did something, and you just try. You're not committing for like the rest of the next 10 years to be committed to this one product or membership. Um, Keep it small, try it. Um, don't I would sell like packages initially. Once you get on the other side of that invitation, don't necessarily go all into selling memberships or things like that. Like just because you're trying to prove the product and the model and what you're trying to share. So we'll take a second for breakthrough for question Q&A, and then let me send this here. Let me shoot. Cool. Um, so okay, cool. Um, what I was going to share here. Okay, so recaps: find your people, share your breakthrough, invite your tribe. Um, so that's great. You guys can check out the group. You can try out other GPT stuff, obviously, if you want. Uh, I wanted to share with you guys as well just a little bit of what we're doing in Tribe Social to give you an idea of kind of where to go. Hopefully, by the end of this, you guys are kind of thinking through like I'm going to niche down on my audience. I'm going to figure out my breakthrough. I want to try to plan my first event. So hopefully, you guys are kind of feeling that and making that change. And what Lindsay and I like are really passionate about is helping people pioneer things, like going from that zero to going from nothing to something, and just having an idea, and then all of a sudden it kind of turns and becomes real. We're very excited about that. We've always had the idea of like pioneering, and being a pioneer on our whole marriage. That's kind of been how we've been focused on things. And so we are launching a new group called Tribe Pioneers. This is a brand new thing. We just launched it last week on our other workshop, and I'll tell you a little bit about that if it's okay with you guys, and then we're gonna take some Q&A, and we'll get into some strategy and stuff. So um, we uh, essentially put together everything to help kind of create, scale, and launch your first paid tribe. We have a tribe course that has all the step-by-step video guides, create, publish your tribe. It's all the best practices, all built into this other group called Tribe Pioneers. Um, we have the community group, so you can ask questions, share wins. It kind of works kind of like Facebook, but it's our private group where we can share things and just give as much information and strategy as we can. And so we're also going to be doing like weekly live calls. So it'll be me, and it'll also be people from our team, just helping you get unstuck and do hot seats and guest training on those. So that way, we essentially going to some of these things like you may take a couple weeks to do it. So spreading it out over a few weeks, you can have feedback when, you may not have questions about Facebook ads, but then 3 weeks in, when you're now staring at the Facebook ad manager and nothing's working, you can pull up your screen and show us and share it and be like, okay, what am I doing wrong? What's the next steps? Because you will get stuck in there. And so what we want to try to do is remove all those obstacles for you. So when you do get stuck on these different things, hop on a call, drop it in the community, and we can do that. We talked a lot about challenges, and one of our mentors, Pedro Adeo, was like, let us use his challenge secrets um, course. So it's got over 60 video lessons. It's got worksheets. It's got all kinds of stuff. We learned challenges from Pedro before he had all of this cool, nicely packaged short videos. Like we were sitting on like multiple 2-3 hour Zoom calls trying to learn from uh, trying to learn how this worked. Now it's like beautifully packaged. It's very organized. But it basically breaks down everything we're talking about, like figuring out who you're serving, figuring out like how to essentially launch, um, like what you want to share in your challenge, and then how to actually price things. And it's a lot of the technical, tactical stuff. So how to set up landing pages, how to do the Facebook ads, all that stuff is in there. So we're going to throw that in as well, which Pedro normally sells for $1,000 on his site. So it's all those things included to help you guys do that. And then if you guys know, like for Tribe, we currently, if you go to our website, like we are helping communities that are either in 6 or 7 figures a year scaling. They have over 1,000 members. We have quite a few qualifications on building out your own kind of custom app that's in the App Store and all that. And so we charge about 30,000 a year to host that. It's a lot of random like expenses and stuff that go alongside that. You have to pay for video hosting and databases and servers and all kinds of stuff. And there's a lot of work to keep it live and updated in the App Store. So for this package, we could not make you all a custom app as much as we would love to, but we would love to share our app with you. So we have an app called Tribe Social. It's in the App Store. And we're going to essentially include with this the ability to have, and you could have maybe some people have asked, can we do one or multiple groups? Probably up to 3 groups if you wanted. Inside of this, it's already got the web app, it's got an iPhone, it's got an Android app. It can do everything that we're doing. Like you can see that we're hosting Tribe creators on here. We have Tribe pioneers are on here. We have our app owners call. So that's our 30K a year program. And even our 100K a year people are in that app owners group. Uh, and so we're using this ourselves and everything's in there. So you would essentially get to put your own group on there. You would have a graphic. Granted, once they click into that, then they're just into your group. And you can put your courses on there. You can do live stream calls, all those things. So I'll show you just really quick. Obviously, you've kind of seen the group here. If you go to the community, we have a way as well, like you can go live here. The go live feature is actually a lot more than just what Facebook is when you go live. When you go live here, it's kind of like starting a Zoom call like we're doing now. So I could go live, Macy could join, Tanya could join, and we could all have like have a conversation amongst the 3 of us about a particular topic. And then when you end that call, it actually just gets archived kind of in the feed for you immediately. So that whole process of like starting a Zoom call, emailing people the links, getting people on the Zoom call, it's quite painful to do that. And there's a lot of like technical things you have to string together. So we've made it to where things like that, where you can just hit a button, go live, share a thought, start a call thing. Very, very easy. So all that stuff's built in. It's kind of like having Zoom built into the platform as well. Uh, and then of course, there's courses like we have all of our courses in here that we talked about, Launch Your Tribe, Challenge Secrets, and all those are each going to have tons of videos and content around all that. So cool. That's the thing. We are going to be uh, selling that here with all the things we talked about. Typically, we're going to be selling it for $4.95 a month. But if you guys are aware, today's a holiday week and we have Cyber Monday. So we're going to be just selling this for 40% off for like 3K for the year for all those things. So we have one really cool uh, bonus as well. Because like but wait, there's more. Um, I was sharing this with Pedro last week, and he's given us the challenge secrets. We obviously become friends. Pedro is a client of ours, with and their whole groups are running Tribe Social, and he was like, "Would it be helpful if I like came in and did some hot seats with your groups?" I was like, "I think they would like that." Since generally Pedro charges about $25,000 to do like a 90-minute session on something like that. So he was like, "Well, let's throw that into the mix." And so Pedro's gonna come in monthly during these 12 months and do a monthly hot seat. So we'll have that ahead. You can put questions ahead and kind of get in the queue for that. But this is who's taught us challenges. Pedro's one of the most uh, well-known like marketers in the space. He's worked with everybody you've ever heard of. Um, and so he's going to be available in his right now, like he does this, but part of his 50K mastermind. So we're gonna throw that in like totally as part of this deal, just for this Cyber Monday deal. So it's kind of a stupid deal at this point, and we'd love to have you guys join. We have a few different people that are already jumping in and signing up. So if you guys are interested, we'll drop a link real quick, and then we're gonna get into Q&A. So yeah, Macy's got it right there. When you're on the link, all the things I just talked about are on there. I just confirmed all this stuff with Pedro. So you have my word, like it's included. It's not on the page this very second, but in the next few hours it will be. Um, so all the deal is here. You can join, you can jump right in. It's all just fill out a form and you can join. If you have questions, Joe from our team would love to chat with you on a call. If you have still some questions about the program, you click this, you can jump on his calendar. He's got some availability this week, even though it's a holiday week. So do that, and we'd love to talk with you guys and see if we can help you, yeah, in your tribe launching journey. So hopefully that's been helpful. I know we just crammed a ton of information and a lot of different things. If you guys can use the reactions in the chat here, you can, let me put it up like this. You'll see like that hand is raised. You can, that'll help us like queue up who may have a question. Um, cool. Let's see. And also, if you guys are busy, I know we've taken up almost an hour. I'm going to hang out for the next 20, 30 minutes or so. So you're welcome to ask questions, or if you need to go, this is totally the time to go. And we'll see you guys on the next workshop um, as well. So we'll hang out for a second. See.